Now, I have here a map of consciousness. This was put together by Sir David Hawkins. He's now deceased, but he was a internationally renowned speaker, teacher. He basically did everything, and he put this together, and it's pretty awesome. And I want to introduce you to the word paradigm. Paradigm is a set of instructions, rules, beliefs that you live within that control your world. And the lowest paradigm is a survival paradigm that is consumed with survival. Pride, anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt all reside in that paradigm. It's not uplifting, it's not upreaching. It basically is mulling around in a survival mode, just trying to get through life. And many people live in that place. I'm sure we all know somebody who operates with a lot of grief in their life. Maybe they very prideful and you can see it in the way they interact with you. Maybe they get angry at everything that happens because life is just not doing what they want it to do. The next paradigm would be the reason and integrity section, which really is what we reach to aspire to. Okay. Everybody wants to have optimism and trust. And it's cool how it's broken out because it talks about the predominant emotional state, the view of life, the process. Truth is, everybody wants to be up in that love, joy, and peace section, and it takes a lot of self-work because it's necessary to remove and readjust the programs that are operating in your mind that keep you circling in the survival paradigm. Those are the little culprits that lock you into a cycle of life that seems to repeat itself over and over again, like getting the same relationship, having the same type of a job. It just seems like you just can't make a change, and it's normally due to a paradigm you're living under. So, an inventory is a great way to start looking at what is happening unconsciously and start to make some adjustments to that so that you can step out of that paradigm. You can move into affirmations, trust, optimism, forgiveness, and then step into the love and joy section and have a little bit more uh, more bliss in your life because everybody is looking for that. Fortunately, very few people know how to get it. Excuse me. So what's in your mind? This is the good question. Here's a spoiler alert. You can consciously believe something about yourself, but often, if you do not address the contradictory unconscious program, it results in taking longer. And most people give up before the new idea takes hold. I think it's like backsliding and repeating and having a hope that something's changing, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. So when you go to the store to buy a grill, they send it home to you in a box, right? So everything to build that grill is in the box. Your mind is like a box full of stuff that's supposed to help you do your life. Unfortunately, by the time you're 8 years old, your box is full of stuff that other people, parents, teachers, siblings, peers, experiences put in there. And unfortunately, you were too young to judge if these things would be things that would help or hinder your life. Psychologists agree that most of the automatic programming that runs our thoughts, reactions, emotions, and defenses were placed in there before the age of 8. So our defenses have been hard coded, meaning there are neural pathways in our brain that automatically trigger when we have an event. It causes a trigger and we respond, we react. Automatically is designed to protect us from this unpredictable world. And even today, it's still depicted by the news, the internet, and even our own families as a scary, unsafe place. Two people can get up in the same day. One could look at the world as a beautiful place and interact with the things that support that. And one could wake up and say, this is a miserable, horrible existence. And all they're going to see is the horrible things that do exist. It's a world of many things, glorious and sad. And what we experience in our day has a lot to do with what we believe. So, what are the first steps to figuring this out? Every goal, aspiration, or desire, it's an external result or an outside expression, and it's affected by what's on the inside. So let's take a look at what's on the inside. First thing we want to do is an inventory. Want to figure out what the ambient thoughts are that sit in the mind. We want to look at the baseline emotion that we exist in. What's our pensive, happy, joyous, sad, agitated? And we're going to ask some questions of ourselves. And we're going to ask them from the perspective of the observer. There's not a right, there's not a wrong, there's not a good or bad. The thoughts and feelings are not you, they are just thoughts. And ideally, if we look at them as the observer, we can look and see what it is, why it is, and if we still want it, because we have a choice now. We're not 8 years old anymore. We have a choice to say, hey, I had that belief. This is where it came from. I'm going to release it. So we're going to have a few questions to answer. So get out your paper, and I want you to respond to these questions. Do not tell me what they are. I'm not. We're not going to share it in this forum. Ideally, this is some work that we're doing together, but you have control. So be honest. Do you greet the day with enthusiasm? So do you wake up happy, sad, struggling? And if it's on the negative side, do you have some way to shift? Do you know how to quickly shift out of that? Because we all wake up in spaces like that. We have a dream, we didn't sleep well, yesterday's issues are coming. But can we shift? Can we turn the day around to something positive? What are the first thoughts upon waking? And maybe the last thoughts that run through your mind before sleep finally sneaks in and turns your mind off. The melatonin kicks in. What are those first thoughts? Uh, do they run into your day's activities? Do they run into, oh my God, yesterday I didn't do something? What are your first thoughts? Because again, those will set the stage for the day. When you look in the mirror, what is your typical thought? What do you say to yourself? Be honest. Think about it. When you walked into the bathroom later after lunch, what did you think? Did you say, "Oh, you are amazing and awesome, and I'm so excited to be you"? Or what was it? Write it down. Just write it down and be honest, because you're the only one looking at it. And if you can't be honest with you, who can you be? Is silence challenging? Do you need a radio playing to drown out your thoughts when you're driving in the car? Or can you sit in silence? If you can't, what are those thoughts? What goes on in there? Because that's the secret to solving the problem is identifying what goes on. Do you compare yourself to someone else? Is there someone else you want to be like? Do you aspire to be? Do you make comparisons and as yourself as lesser or greater? Either way. And who? You decide. I don't want to know. In a difference of opinion with someone else, do you need to feel validation and be right? Is that necessary for you? Does that give you some self-satisfaction? Okay. Not right, not wrong. Um, just do you and be honest. Do you look for ways to lift people up or make other people feel important or valued with no expectations? This is like helping someone on the street and never telling anybody about it, or bringing it up in conversation. I mean, the reason behind it is important. I mean, if you believe in giver's gain, that's great. If you believe that karma is better if you're giving, I mean, what do you think? What do you believe? Because these things all govern your actions. In the absence of activity, what emotion are you experiencing? Again, was the ambient place. When you get up for your chair and you walk to the other room, what are you feeling? Um, that's important. These are the ambient thoughts in your mind. When you get cut off in traffic or you find the person ahead of you is driving too slowly, what's your first thought? You get angry, challenged, frustrated, not right, not wrong, just what? When something unfavorable happens, like your plans got thwarted or something uneventful comes into your world, do you wait for the next shoe to drop? Do you shift into a pensive mode? Do you take it in stride? Key questions on how you respond and react to things. So write down how you respond. And the last one for this segment is, do you experience disorganization or a reoccurring theme in your life? That is, do you have the same relationships? Do you end up disorganized and you just can't seem to change it? There's reasons behind that. But remember something, you are not your body. You're just living inside of it. And all these things are not you. You are you experiencing life in 3D. Uh, so keep these all noted. We're going to process them in a future slide.